Hello, Destiny. Destiny, can you define fascism?
I would say the two big points for fascism would be ultranationalism and authoritarianism.
Okay, what is authoritarianism?
I would say that authoritarianism is trying to centralize as much power in like a structural sense into one part of the government, and then in a broader sense, it usually means undermining a bunch of liberal values that you would find, like, say, in the first.
So then how is it that every part of the government which accrues more and more power to itself every single year aren't a bunch of fascists?
Because the government gaining power doesn't necessarily make it fascist. You could say there might be governmental overreach,
I'm
but
still
it's
not even sure. What is fascist here, Destiny? What is fascist?
I said,
so Giovanni Gentili, we have definitions of what fascism is. We have third partyists who are out there right now who are fascist. They claim Trump is a populist. Can you tell me why they're wrong and why you're right that he's a fascist?
Well, I would have to know their exact reasons for why they reject Trump being a fascist, but I would say that Trump is a fascist because I think he's an ultranationalist and an authoritarian.
These are your claims.
I'm not
right?
claiming anything that those people said. I've given you my definition for fascist. I gave the two parts. I can explain them more if you want.
So let's start with ultra-authoritarian.
Why I said ultranationalist and authoritarian.
What is ultranationalism?
So I think ultranationalism is when you engage in a hardcore protectionist ideology that usually involves shutting yourself out from the rest of the world. That could be in forms of international affairs like military conflicts, and it could be in the forms of ultra-protectionist in terms of trade and shutting down things like immigration in order to protect your own native peoples. So, oftentimes there's a heavily racialized element, but it might not have to be.
Okay, well, Donald Trump, you're not saying has a heavy racialized element, are you?
I'm ambivalent. I don't really care that much. I think that he qualifies or satisfies the term without that. But
okay, so let's dive into this real quick. If you have a president who doesn't want to get involved in foreign affairs as far as wars go, and has some type of policies which benefit the United States over all other nations, is he a fascist?
No.
Well, I'm still confused as to what makes Trump a fascist.
That's because I had two parts of that, and you missed the authoritarian one. What you described there before was just like protection.
Well, when you said authoritarian, what is he doing, which is accumulating all power to himself?
So he's trying to centralize power in the executive branch of the government, and specifically in the presidential part of the government, of the executive branch.
How?
How Donald Trump thinks that he should be able to unilaterally make decisions up and down all of the different departments and offices that exist in the executive branch.
Presidents use executive orders all the time.
That's not what an executive order is.
Presidents unilaterally make decisions all the time.
No, they don't?
Yes, they do.
No, they
do. They use executive orders all the time.
An executive order doesn't mean that you are taking power away from the departments and offices that have been created.
Right, so where's the fascism here?
Would you like me to give you specific examples?
Yes, give me the specific example.
Sure. So when Donald Trump didn't like the answer that he was getting from his attorney general because he was trying to direct the Department of Justice to do investigations or to fabricate claims, that would be an example of trying to centralize power just to the president, because he's undermining his own department that's been created for him, that's supposed to have some level of independence, that's tasked with doing investigations.
Let me ask you a question. Is the president of the United States the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of the United States?
I believe so.
You believe so?
Unless something's changed.
Do they have control of the entire military apparatus, essentially, as the commander-in-chief?
As the commander-in-chief, yes.
Yeah. Is that fascist?
No.
So they have basically almost unilateral control by your own metrics of the most mighty military on planet Earth. That's not accumulating enough power, centralized control to one person. It's the fact that he tried to slay some fucking electors. Really?
So the president being the commander-in-chief is specifically laid out in the Constitution. That's an authority granted to him. I don't know what's fascist about that.
Well, because you said it's ultra power. It's this idea of having central power.
Military,
if you have the central power,
I didn't ever bring that up for him. But
if you have the central power of the most mighty military on planet Earth and the codes to the largest nuclear armament on planet Earth, you already have all of the central power, bro.
Really?
Yeah.
How do the nuclear codes help you direct your Department of Justice?
Okay, I'm sorry. Is he the commander-in-chief of the United States Armed Forces?
Are you just arguing that he's the commander? I already agree with you. I don't know why you keep arguing.
What I'm arguing to you is
I'm asking you, how does the commander-in-chief use the military to make...
It's your claim.
I'm asking you
about your claim, and your claim is...
How does that make him control the DOJ? How does the military help him control the DOJ?
So back up. That is the most powerful position I can think of for you to be in, period. How could you
accumulate... That's a powerful position. That's a powerful...
What more accumulation of power would you want for a fascist dictator?
Gotcha. Okay, so that's powerful in that you controlled the military. That's it. That's just control of the military.
Yeah.
For the FBI coming to your house to arrest you, for the DOJ filing charges against you...
You said the military to do it.
No, the president doesn't do that.
He could.
I don't know if no, I don't believe that he can. I don't believe that you can. I don't think that you can deploy the military to arbitrarily arrest U.S. citizens.
You've been voted out by the majority. Please return to your
So you
seat.
talk about misinformation, but you've given us a ton of misinformation right now. You said, seems like nobody in MAGA even wants to talk about any of the issues of Donald Trump. Had multiple debaters come up, talk to you about multiple economic policies, compare and contrast them with Kamala, gave you great reason.
I don't think I heard any economic policy from Trump when he was in 4 years.
Okay,
Yeah, what were
okay.
his economic
No,
policies?
back up. Now you're switching the claim. So what you just claimed is I don't hear MAGA people talk about this at all.
I don't think I heard any.
That's
policies
what
that were
you
brought up.
said, and
Yeah.
yes, they did. They
What were
brought
they?
up the capital gains policies. They also brought
What were the
up
capital
they
gains
also brought up
policies?
tariffs. They brought up the tariff policies. They brought up multiple economic policies. Total misinfo.
Okay.
Total misinfo for you to say they didn't. They absolutely did. Are you disputing that nobody here brought up any policies of Donald
I think that when you're talking policies from somebody,
Mm-hmm.
if the only thing you have are tariffs, it's not really a strong policy foundation.
I'm
to support
sorry.
somebody.
I'm sorry. Did you use the word any? You don't hear anybody talk about
I'm
that?
speaking like a human being right now.
Oh, but when
right?
Donald Trump
So
speaks like a
when
human
he-
being, he's a
Donald
liar.
Trump doesn't speak like a human being.
Yeah, he's
a moron.
Anytime.
I'm sorry, but Donald Trump speaks like an idiot.
So would you
Yeah.
say it's misinformation, for instance? Is it misinformation when you say that a firefighter who got murdered at a rally, when you laugh at that and you say that that's totally fine, are you spreading misinformation?
I don't know if
Are
I said
you-
that's totally fine. I think I said
Yeah.
I don't really have any sympathy for
No,
people
you,
who get
no,
shot
you
at
didn't.
for
You
rallies.
laughed about it. You thought it was funny. You didn't give a shit. You were under fire on Twitter for it for weeks until you finally backed
Okay,
away.
you can go find,
after
I
you
haven't
were
backed
shot.
away from any of those statements.
Yeah,
You can go find the
you
pieces
haven't
want.
backed away from any of them.
No, not at all.
You don't care that the guy died, right?
People died. Rallies.
Yeah,
happens.
yeah, you don't
When
care.
when this side is involved
But you
in
care
some
about
of the most
misinfo?
violent, divisive. Here's a
You
question.
care about misinfo?
Here's a question. That has nothing to do with misinfo. Here's a question.
I'll explain how it's
wait. Do you
misinfo.
disavow any of the
Let me-
rhetoric about Paul
let-
Pelosi? Do you
let
disavow
me-
any of the rhetoric about Paul Pelosi?
What? Even if I made any outrageous claim possible, has nothing to do with your claim, which
Do you
is what
disavow
we're
any of
talking
that?
about. We're talking about your claim.
You don't.
Stop
He doesn't.
switching.
He doesn't. Of course not.
Stop
he doesn't
switching
acknowledge
the
what happened on
goalposts.
January 6th. He doesn't acknowledge
And
that
you're
people are
filibustering.
turning away
You're
FEMA
filibustering.
right now
Stop
because
spurging.
they're
Stop
convinced that
spurging.
the federal government's going
Stop
to take their
spurging.
houses.
Stop spurging.
You are, yeah, you just
Stop
engage in all the
spurging
time.
and
You
answer
can say
to
stop
the
spurging over and
question.
over again. I'm not here
I'm
to talk
going
about
to.
my tweets,
Are
but if
you
that's what you really
ever-
want to talk
are
about,
you-
you do it. I've
are you
tweeted
going
crazier
to
shit than that, I
acknowledge
promise.
Are you going to acknowledge that you said totally fine? You didn't care. You just said right now you don't
go and
care.
find- you can look at all my
How
tweets.
is it now? Let me explain how
What
it's.
does that have to do with
I'm going
misinformation?
to explain how it's misinformation.
Okay.
Because don't you think that if you make claims like Donald Trump is un-American, Donald Trump doesn't like the Constitution, and then you have an assassin come, he tries to kill Donald J. Trump at a rally, another American dies. Aren't you spreading misinformation by saying to people, this is okay? Isn't that
I don't think
un-American?
I've ever said this is
Isn't
okay.
it
I've said
un-American?
over and over again that there shouldn't be any political violence in the United
That's
States.
great.
It's not good.
That's
you can laugh.
great.
You guys are the ones that
Donald
support
Trump
it.
said that
You
at January
guys deny
6th.
it.
He said it during January
After
6th.
he sat and watched it happen for 3
Oh,
hours.
well, after
when
the
he was
guy died,
only
now you're
person-
sorry about your
What-
rhetoric.
Who said I was sorry?
Yeah, you're not
Excuse me.
sorry,
Please stop
exactly.
projecting onto me.
Not
I never
sorry
said I was
at
sorry about
all.
anything.
Yeah, you don't-
I've not said that. Yeah, unlike you, I have a spine over the things that I say, okay? Number one.
okay.
Number two, Donald Trump and your side are the ones that have engaged in divisive rhetoric for years. This idea that saying Donald Trump is un-American when Donald Trump himself says that he would be a day one
Divisive
dictator,
rhetoric
and he would
is fine.
suspend the Constitution. I'm sorry,
No,
if the divisive
there's a
rhetoric
difference
is
between
quoting
divisive
Donald
rhetoric
Trump
and
against you,
assassinating the
that's
guy.
Donald Trump's problem. Maybe he
Your
should
rhetoric
say
has
that are
led to
un-American.
assassination attempts, and one of the guys who died there, you don't even give a shit. And I've said this multiple times. And at the same time, you're like, oh, I love America. What kind of bullshit is this, Destiny?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
When you guys start
unbelievable.
taking accountability for some of the crazy things that you say, come and talk to me, okay? Come and talk to me.
Okay, so we're gonna do a